everybody doing? Yes, I know. Safety factor, safety issues. Why aren't you buckled up? Why are you driving and doing videos? Blah, blah, blah. Gotcha. But the reason I'm doing this video and this little talk, a lot of great conversations coming up about Kell Brook, Crawford, 147, for all the beans and potatoes and the belts and all that stuff. People are really excited about it, and so am I. I just wish this fight would have happened a lot earlier, where Kell wasn't gonna have to kill himself to make 147. The last time he tried to do it, we seen Spence destroy him. I think the Combat Hour, my buddy, was telling me, he brought up a great point, that in the beginning, Kell, he gave Spence some trouble, but because he couldn't make 147 easily, his stamina suffered, and he started to waver towards the end, and we all know the result. Yet again, I see this as another fight, truthfully, that Crawford is fighting outside his weight class. I'm not hating. It's a bad economy. I get it. Nobody's going to want to go up against another world champion for peanuts because of COVID or whatever you want to call this pandemic thing. We're seeing a lot of fights happening that don't make sense, but I've had to talk to myself and in my little monologue and say, hey, nobody wants to fight for a percentage of what they would have got, say, a year ago. I'm actually surprised to see if the Caleb Plant fight happens with Canelo, because Caleb didn't want to do it earlier. Granted, he was stating, hey, they're not giving me enough time to train. I just got done with the fight. They want me right now in May. Fair enough. I understand that. It'd be a great fight. I think it's a little soon for Caleb to take a fight on of that magnitude. But if it does happen in December, I think Caleb's got the advantage. Canelo hasn't really trained maybe for him. But then again, I don't know if Caleb has either. But back to Kell Brook, I digress. Kell Brook and Crawford. Crawford he does well at 147. We can say he's a natural at that weight so far. He hasn't had to move up. Kell Brook, we've seen up at, junior middleweight, whatever. He can't make those weights no more. Are we truly going to see Crawford showing us how great he is, or is Crawford beating up a guy that got damaged by Triple G? God, Triple G did a number on him. I don't know why he would move up that high, but he did. I guess it was the money, like Canelo did with Mayweather. Who's gonna turn that kind of money down, right? Even if you get a lose, you get that L. You lose the O. Canelo hasn't lost since he fought Mayweather. Brook went up to get that money, and truthfully, I think a lot of us spoke in private messages after that fight. Kell Brook exposed Triple G and what truthfully could be Triple G, and that was pushing him back. That was a super welterweight, junior middleweight, pushing back a full-blown middleweight who probably on fight night is probably weighing 168, 170 something. We know Kell Brook couldn't weigh that much that night, but he pushed him back. We saw Danny Jacobs do it and all that. Thank God for Kell Brook. Kell Brook is a good fighter. Most people didn't like his fight against Porter, said that Porter beat him. Porter's really hard to look good against. All right, Porter always brings it. Porter's up in your face. I don't like Porter's style. Lots of headbutts, lots of elbows. Is it purposeful? Probably not. Just very aggressive man. Even Spence didn't look good against Porter. I saw Spence beat him. Porter missed a lot. Some of his shots weren't clean because it's just volume after volume of punches. And right up in your face, and it looks sloppy. It's hard to look good against Porter. But Porter's not Crawford. Kell Brook's not the same Kell Brook that fought Porter or fought Triple G. I don't see... I guess if we're going to be fair, even if Crawford wins, we won't give him credit. If he doesn't win, we're going to say, hey, told you, he's not that good. And I don't think those are either fair assessments. I just wish that Crawford would fight a man that is established in the welterweight division and goes that route. We'll give 2020 a pass, but after 2020, I don't think that I've heard from too many people that Crawford can continue to get a pass with these less than top 5, top 10 oppositions. Crawford in his 30s needs to fight somebody of elite status, needs to fight somebody that will put him where I believe he could be, and that would be the Hall of Fame. I think he needs to be in Boxing Hall of Fame, but not with the resume he has right now. Kell Brook is a nice name to have on there, but that's not the Kell Brook of old. I truthfully think that Crawford needs to take on a Porter next year. After this fight, somewhere March, April, May, take on Porter, take on Thurman, take on Danny Garcia, and just wipe out the lightweight, the welterweight division, and put the cherry on top to you maybe with Spence. Spence is saying he's moving up in 3 fights. Man, are we going to get cheated out of the Spence-Crawford fight? I mean, we got cheated with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd for years. I hope not. I hope we don't. I really want to see Spence and Crawford. I think they're the 2 top welterweights. I think they ruled that division. But nobody wants their cash cow to lose. I hope Kell Brook doesn't get hurt in this fight. We all know he's going to have to dehydrate down to almost nothing to make weight. The weigh-in should show us a lot. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm saying it now before this fight happens. This fight does not define Crawford as some great fighter, as the dominant, because he's not fighting a welterweight. He's fighting a junior welterweight, junior middleweight that he's making come down to his weight class. The same thing we saw with Tank Davis, and everybody saying they're comparing him to Mike Tyson. Give me a break. Mike Tyson wasn't fighting cruiserweights. Mike Tyson wasn't knocking out cruiserweights. Mike Tyson was knocking out, in the beginning, full-blown, older heavyweights. And he took out some great opposition as a heavyweight. Tank has not. Tank fought a featherweight that he made come up to the limit of super featherweight, and he came down to the minimum or a pound below the minimum of lightweight. That's not the same thing. Great fight. Leo Santa Cruz held his own. True Mexican warrior. He brought it. Just wasn't big enough to have the power enough to keep Tank off of him. And then he started telegraphing that punch, and boom, timed him, got him. Great punch. Love what Tank did. Love the way he took him out. But we can't ruin that win by saying that now this guy is great. He beat somebody lighter than him. And Tank is a notorious guy to blow up the night of the fight. If Tank wants to be great, he needs to do what Teofimo Lopez did and fight the best. Till took a risk and he won. I really do believe that Tank needs, in order to start solidifying himself, he's not that young either. Time passes for all of us. I think he needs to fight. Hell, at least fight a Luke Campbell or somebody. Fight a Linares. Why does everybody keep forgetting about Linares? Linares is a monster. Why? The guy's still amazing. He's over there training in Japan. Hey, he looks so damn good, they made Ryan Garcia not fight him. I bet you somebody picked up the phone to Mauricio Suleiman and said, hey, what's our mandatory? And then all of a sudden we got 2 different options. Why? Because the day before Oscar De La Hoya says, hey, in an interview, have y'all seen Linares? Holy shit. It's almost like he had been off the map, like he wasn't paying attention to Linares. Linares looks amazing. Linares set Loma on his ass. Yeah, he lost that fight, but he set him on his ass. I really do believe we see a great fight, that style of fighting, against a Tank Davis, against a Teofimo, against a Ryan Garcia. I think the real gatekeeper of the lightweight division is Jorge Linares. I don't think it's these little prospects that everybody's putting belts on. Hey, here's your mail-in belt. Oh, by the way, now you were the interim, now you're the WBC undisputed champion. How's that possible when Teofimo's holding a franchise belt that he took from the undisputed champion? All these belts are starting to confuse a lot of fans that don't pay attention to the sport. And I won't use the words that we usually use, because I was listening to my boy Box comment. It's true, we need to quit calling each other names We're not casuals. We're not fanboys. We're all fans in our own regard. But a lot of fans that don't keep up with the sport religiously see a belt on a person and think it's a championship fight. It's starting to sound like soccer. Every soccer match that I see on the news or anything, it's a world championship of some sort. It's the same with boxing now. Everybody's got a belt. It's a gold belt, a regular belt, an interim belt. These prospects at lightweight are not the saving grace of the division. We still got Jorge Linares there. Jorge Linares is solid. And I don't know why nobody's gnawing at him. Maybe because he doesn't have a... Does he have a belt? I don't think he has a belt. Don't know with all these belts now. I think Jorge Linares makes a great fight with anybody. And I think Jorge Linares can still beat a lot of people, especially some of these prospects coming up. I don't see Tank Davis at this point right now beating a Jorge Linares this coming year. I don't see Ryan Garcia beating Jorge Linares. I don't see Teofimo blowing out Linares. I can see Teofimo. He's bigger. He's got power in both hands. I can see him making a great fight with Linares. And I think, really, truthfully, that should be the next fight for somebody. Jorge Linares. Tank is not Mike Tyson. Not for knocking out somebody lighter than him. Great fights coming up. Awesome to hear that Canelo might fight Caleb Plant at super middleweight. That's amazing. Very exciting time. I know COVID sucks. I know all this stuff is crazy. But we got to look at the brighter side of things. We got to look at the positive side of things and try to make this sport work. And remember, the powers are in the dollar bill. If you buy the shit fights keep getting made. If you don't like shit fights, quit buying them. And another thing too, when the good fights get made, don't go to the streamer. Don't go to the guy playing for free on Loops or whatever other app. If it's a badass fight, like that Teofimo Loma fight, go pay for it. Go pay for it. If it's a crap fight, don't even watch it. That's where the power is for the fan. If you truly want great fights, buy the great fights. If you don't want the great fights, if you don't want shit fights, don't buy them. They'll listen to us. They really will. But I think right now we're all so hungry for somebody's ass to get whooped or a great battle. We're buying everything. And I guess right now it's better than nothing because we got to keep the sport afloat. I think Matchroom was saying they were breaking even. Top Rank saying that they're losing money on some of these fights. PBC's not making any money. We got to keep our sport alive. But like I said, do it responsibly. Pick the good fights. Pay for them. All right? Like I said, I've seen a lot of comments. I've seen a lot of stuff. This is already dangerous enough, me talking on... Please forgive me if I didn't say hi or whatever. To everybody who tended to listen to my rant, I appreciate it. I don't get much free time, so when things pop into my head, I just put them out there. Like I said, if I didn't say anything about your comments or anything, I did see a lot of good stuff on here. Thank you so much to everybody. Marshall, JP Reynoso, I can't see too many. I don't even want to try, guys. But like I said, those are the few. See the ugly beard guy, my homie, Brown Babies 803. Everybody, thank you so much. I see so many people on here. Thank you so much. Take care, and we'll talk again.